Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Evanston. My name is Annette Wallace. My pronouns are she, her. I'm your worship associate this morning, and along with Reverend Susan Francis, our assistant minister. Whether this is your spiritual home or you're newly discovering this community, we're grateful to share this time together. We strive to be an inclusive and welcoming community, seeking truth in love and nurturing the human spirit for a world made whole. We are guided by our principles and values, which remind us in every moment and through every challenge that each of us is worthy of love and that we are all connected through the vast and beautiful web of existence. We come together to remember our kinship with one another and to hold one another in heart and mind with tenderness and careful attention, and to dedicate ourselves more fully to living our shared values. Maybe if I keep my head from bobbing up and down, you can hear me. Welcome to those joining us online. Hey! We hope you have your chalices ready. People of all ages are a welcome and important part of our faith community. Today is an all-ages service, and we are blessed to have the children in the sanctuary for the entire service. Yay, Nest! The Nest is in the front, and it's our designated area for families with young children. That we have quiet fidget toys and activities and a kid-friendly order of service. I can even read it, big enough type. We encourage our parents and caregivers in the Nest to help support our youngest members of the community to participate in the service in an engaged way. Nursery care is actually available downstairs at the back of the sanctuary, and it's streamed in the lobby if you need to step out. As part of being a welcoming and inclusive community, we have some information posted on the screen that will help orient you to UCE and our service. But here are a few announcements. After the service next Sunday, July 12th, please join our abortion access team to assemble care packages and notes for abortion care clients of the Chicago Abortion Fund. Because we've had great volunteer participation, this time we will be creating 200 care packages instead of the usual 100. So we need as many helpers as possible, and you can enjoy a cup of coffee after service and then join us at noon in room 3. We are good volunteers. And join our Catalyst for Democracy team each Thursday from 6 until 6:30. It's at the corner of Dempster and Ridge with your signs like that. We will be gathering each Thursday until the election in November. We have a good time on the corner each week, and people beep their horns in support. It's wonderful. The nomination deadline for the next year's shared offering program is July 14th. So you can access the nomination form in the newsletter and on the website, or ask Reverend Susan if you need assistance. And reminder of our new summertime office hours, which are posted in the newsletter and on the parking lot doors. Tuesdays and Thursdays, the hours are 10 a.m. to 12:30 and 1:30 to 4. People have to eat. Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays, the hours are 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., and the office is closed on Mondays and Saturdays. So now, let us settle in together, gather our attention, share this time of reflection, quiet your electronic devices, quiet our bodies, and join in beloved community. Welcome to worship.
Thank you, Gregory. Good morning. I've been hearing from many of you about the ways in which we are all trying to process this country's semi-quincentennial. I've been practicing that, semi-quincentennial. Some of us have celebrated the 4th of July yesterday in our usual manner, whatever our family and friends' traditions are. Some of us have recused ourselves and not been engaging at all this year. And some of us have doubled down and have been more involved with parades or gatherings for family and friends. And right now, there is no right or wrong way to be feeling or experiencing this milestone 250th anniversary of our country. Some of my own grappling with this milestone anniversary has been in conversation with my interfaith colleagues. And the Reverend Michael Kirby with Northminster Presbyterian Church here in Evanston introduced me to the Faith 250 campaign. Adam, will you bump to the next slide? Faith 250 invites faith leaders and communities across the country to engage with each other in community conversations to start to clarify our shared values and our shared civic ideals and our hopes for America. The Faith 250 organizers selected 4 American texts to study and use as a basis for these conversations. These are the Declaration of Independence, Emma Lazarus's The New Colossus, Catherine Lee Bates' America the Beautiful, and Frederick Douglass's address, What to the Slave is the 4th of July. And in reading these texts, I shifted a bit how I was experiencing this idea of this monumental anniversary of our country. And I decided to interweave these into our service this morning to remind us that there are many people in the United States, those of faith and those who are not religious, who share our values and our civic ideals captured in these texts. This Faith 250 initiative is just one way that people in the United States are actively working to build relationships that will support and advance the efforts to preserve our democracy, maintain our humanity, and shape a better future for our country. So that is my welcome to worship.
Our first reading is The New Colossus by Emma Lazarus, who was a young poet and social activist of Portuguese Sephardic Jewish descent. She could trace her roots back to the first Jews who came to North America. 3 years before the Statue of Liberty was dedicated, Lazarus was asked to write a poem as part of an arts festival to help raise money for the statue's pedestal. It was 1883. And Lazarus was involved in charitable work for refugees and active in aiding Russian Jews who were trying to escape to the United States. Immigration and freedom of the oppressed, excuse me. Immigration and freedom of the oppressed were clearly on her mind as she wrote this poem. The bronze plaque with Lazarus' poem was added to the statue's pedestal in 1903, after her friend, Georgina Schuler, launched an effort to commemorate her work. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land. Here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beacon hand glows Worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep, ancient lands, your storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore, send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Our land and labor acknowledgement this morning encompasses our country in acknowledgement of the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States. This continent we inhabit has many names, including Tawantinsuya and Turtle Island. Before Spanish conquest or contact in 1492, this continent was filled with emperors, scientists, philosophers, and families engaged in an interconnected series of empires, cities, and settlements with unique histories and names. The peoples of the Wampanoag, Seminole, Ojibwe, Potawatomi, Crow, Navajo, Apache, Tutuniti, and Esselen, and more. Native cartographer Aaron Carapella has identified 584 sovereign nations in the area we now call the continental United States of America. And James Davidson with Yale University Press has estimated 8 million people lived in this area in 1491. Currently, the U.S. government recognizes 574 indigenous nations, including the nations in Alaska and Hawaii, although there are only 326 federal Indian reservations with Indian sovereign land rights. We remember the indigenous ancestors who welcomed the waves of European explorers, who hid the waves of escaped African slaves, and who worked alongside the waves of Asian and Pacific Islander immigrants. We acknowledge the violence wrought upon indigenous communities throughout the generations still felt and witnessed today. We remember the ancestors of contemporary African Americans, the individuals, families, and networks of Black people who built up our country's culture and economy, which was a role forced on them originally by enslavement. We are indebted to their labor and beneficiaries of their creativity, and so we must also be promoters of their stories. We acknowledge the violence inflicted upon Black communities throughout the generations, still felt and witnessed today. We offer these acknowledgments as one small effort toward building long-term solidarity with contemporary communities. We commit ourselves to incorporate these admissions into our lives and turn our thoughts into actions. Please join in our words of shared commitment. We name these realities with honor, respect for our descendants, and gratitude for the land we use as sacred space. Jeannie Curl and Anne Figert brought the flowers in recognition of Haitian and Syrian immigrants and refugees whose lives have been plunged into uncertainty. As they light our chalice, symbol of our living tradition, please join in reading Why We're Here by Reverend Eric Walker Walkstrom. And the words are on the screen. Here, today, in this place and with these people, may we listen so that we can hear. May we hear so that we can feel. May we feel so that we can know. And may we know so that we can change ourselves and this world. May this chalice we light light our way.
This morning I met Isaac, and I'm wondering if you would like to come help read our covenant this morning. Excellent. All right. Will you say your name for everybody?
My name is Isaac.
And will you ask them to rise in body or spirit?
Rise in body spirit. Did it?
We're going to say our covenant together. Ready? Love.
Love, fear, spirit, connection. His girlfriend. Peace. Girls.
Thank you. Isaac told me he was new, but he knew almost word for word the whole thing, so that's a challenge to you all to make sure you learn it. If you are online, please greet each other in the chat, and if you're in the sanctuary, please look for someone new and introduce yourself and have a moment to greet each other. All right, my friends, before we sing our opening hymn, I encourage anyone, I love that you guys love each other. It's so fun. I encourage anyone who's feeling new to check out our welcome table with the red tablecloth at the back of the sanctuary. Actually, you can go ahead and sit down for a second because I want to share with you about our song. We are going to have our informal circle of chairs pulled together after the service near the sanctuary doors for folks to sit and talk as we continue to build our relationships and build kinship among us. Our opening song is not a hymn, but the song America the Beautiful. It was originally a poem written by Catherine Lee Bates, a feminist and Wellesley professor. And she wrote it in 1893, the summer she took a trip to the Chicago World's Fair, where she experienced the lauding of turn-of-the-century industrial growth, and then traveled on to experience an overwhelming connection with nature on Pikes Peak in Colorado. This trip gave her a strong impression of the growing disconnect between the people of America and nature, which was being encouraged by the Industrial Revolution. It is a poem of its time, and I have not adapted any of the language. We will sing it in its original form. I hope you hear in the words the call for community, the call for justice, and the call for the United States to use its material wealth for the common good. Please rise in body or spirit to sing America the Beautiful.
Beautiful for
Thank you, my beloveds. Our time for all ages. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. We'll see how everybody does. So, who knows when the Declaration of Independence was written? Okay, anybody? 1776. Excellent. I just learned this week that the formal name of this document is the Unanimous Declaration of the 13 United States of America. I didn't know that. Who can name someone who signed the Declaration of Independence? John Hancock, the very first signature. Any other? Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin. Who? Button Gwinnett? I don't know that one. I love it. So I want to tell you about two of the signers that I want you to know more about. The first is William Ellery, who is the grandfather of one of the founding ministers and most significant theologians of Unitarianism, William Ellery Channing. The second is Benjamin Rush, who was raised in the Presbyterian denomination, but as an adult, Rush's strong belief in universal salvation helped to promote acceptance of universalism during its formative period in America. Rush was influenced by the teachings of early Universalist preacher Elhanan Winchester and was a close friend and correspondent of John Murray, who we consider the father of American Universalism. So the Universalist Church of America was founded in 1793, and we just learned that the Declaration was signed in 1776. And the American Unitarian Association was founded in 1825. So although our Unitarian and Universalist traditions formed after the signing of the Declaration, rarely do organizations or ideas pop out of one person's mind. The conversations and relationships happening among the men signing the Declaration of Independence were part of shaping the lives of William Ellery and Benjamin Rush, who were then part of shaping the lives of their family and their friends, who went on to be a part of our faith tradition's history. So when someone asks, were there Unitarians or Universalists who signed the Declaration? There weren't. We did not exist yet. But William Ellery and Benjamin Rush were our forefathers in the room at the Declaration, signing of the Declaration. All right, are you ready? Who can say very succinctly what the Declaration of Independence declared? Say it again. Yes, that's exactly right, that we were going away from Britain, right? The United States created its own country, and the 13 colonies left the British Empire. Thank you, Rocco. All right, I'm going to read two excerpts from the Declaration, and we're going to talk about how that aligns with our current values. So listen and think about Jet Pig. I'm going to call out Kathy. Jet Pig, our values: justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, generosity, love. So think about these. The quote, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." What do you think? Does that remind you of any of our UU values? Oh, I just gave them both away. Equity. Our equity value is we declare that every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. All right, here's the last quote, which is in British English. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form that to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Which value? Justice. Right? It's wrong to do that, right? That is why justice is so important. Exactly. Thank you. Our justice value is we support the use of inclusive democratic processes to make decisions within our congregations, our association, and society at large. We, as Unitarian Universalists, are able to claim that our values of equity and of justice align with the civic ideals that the founders of our country wrote when they declared they had formed a new country, our country. May this connection to our country's history inspire us to shape and nurture and vote and nudge our leaders, our neighbors, and ourselves to act for equity and justice. Thank you for answering my questions. I invite us to settle into a time of quiet reflection as we share our joys and sorrows. If you have a joy or sorrow you would like spoken aloud, you may write it in this book, which lives on a little table right inside the doors from the lobby, or you may fill out the link on the homepage. There's a little yellow button that says Joys and Sorrows, or you may email me because Reverend Eileen is on sabbatical for the next 2 months and promised me she would not check her email. So we listen to these offerings with tenderness and respect. Let us all breathe in and breathe out. These are our joys and sorrows shared before the service. Our first sorrow is that Annette is allergic to the chancel flowers, so we moved them over for the duration of the service, but they're very lovely. So thank you, Anne and Jeannie, for bringing them. Jean. And we have a joy and sorrow from Alicia Hempfling. Her concern is, I have had to start oxygen due to the progression of my pulmonary fibrosis. Her joy, with the help of the oxygen, I can still sing the blues. And a sorrow from Andy Fisher. My cousin, Jamie Fisher, an excellent cyclist, architect, and friend in Seattle, Washington, passed away this week. We're holding you and your family in our hearts, Andy. We have a joy from Tony Ray. We are still a democracy, standing here today. A joy from Mary Dudek. Evanston celebrated the 250th year of the U.S. independence with lots of community spirit. UUCE members in the parade and those as spectators cheered on in support of our democracy. Onward. And a joy from Kathy Underwood. Happy 128th birthday to my grandpa, who brought Unitarianism and UCC into our family many years ago. Sharing these concerns of the heart is part of our practice of beloved community. Together, we expand our celebrations and lessen the burdens of our grief. If you have something on your heart or mind today that you would like to light a candle for or drop a stone in the well of tears, please come forward to the chancel or to one of the chancel tables on either side of the sanctuary. If you would like a candle brought forward, please raise your hand and Kathy will bring one to you. Please come forward. Please join me in our communal words. For these joys we give our thanks. For these sorrows we give our... Please join me in an attitude of prayer and meditation as I share with you an adapted version of the prayer, Here I Am, by Elaine Kazia. Spirit of life, may my wisest self guide me through this day. May she remind me to look through eyes of wonder and see the abundant beauty of here and now. To live from my toes up, grounded on this precious earth and in this miraculous body. To open my heart, flinging wide its shutters so no defenses cut me off. To employ my hands to create beauty and to soothe suffering. To unlock potentials. Eyes, feet, heart, hands. From here, I can wake to my life and the gift that it is. From here, I can move through my day with simple ease. From here, I can spread compassion and love. From here, I can mend the world. May I be comforted in my grief, alleviated from my worries, and supported through my challenges, assured of my abilities to move forward. May I be in harmony today with the current that flows through all, and may I be a faithful expression of this sacred source. Here I am. Amen, and blessed be. Please remain seated and join me in singing hymn 123, Spirit of Life. As we say in our covenant each Sunday, service is our law. UUCE is called by our mission, values, and principles to contribute to our community, to form accountable partnerships, and to express gratitude through giving. Today's offering will be shared with Zacharias Center, which works to mobilize the community toward ending systemic sexual violence while amplifying the voices of survivors through trauma-informed care, advocacy, and preventative education. You may text to give, mail in a check, or put cash or a check in the bowls. Please indicate on the memo line of your check if it is for the shared offering or some other giving. The ushers will now come forward. Please give as generously as you are able, and may what you give bring you joy.
Gregory, you introduced me to this composer, and I'm always so thrilled when you play him. Thank you. Thank you so much. The last of our readings today is several excerpts from the keynote address delivered by Frederick Douglass at an Independence Day celebration on July 5th, 1852, in Rochester, New York. Douglass was a powerful orator who traveled the country giving lectures on abolition, and his keynote address was titled, "What to the Slave is the 4th of July?" The National Museum of African American History and Culture frames his speech for contemporary readers by indicating that Douglass, who was born into slavery and escaped at the age of 20, was able to affirm the nation's founders were great men for their ideals of freedom, but in doing so, he brought awareness to the hypocrisy of their ideals by the existence of slavery on American soil. Douglass's speech interrogates the meaning of the Declaration of Independence to enslaved African Americans, and these are his words. Fellow citizens, I am not wanting in respect for the fathers of this republic. The signers of the Declaration of Independence were brave men. They were great men, too, great enough to give frame to a great age. It does not often happen to a nation to raise at one time such a number of truly great men. The point from which I am compelled to view them is not certainly the most favorable, and yet I cannot contemplate their great deeds with less than admiration. They were statesmen, patriots, and heroes, and for the good they did and the principles they contended for, I will unite with you to honor their memory. To drag a man in fetters into the grand illuminated temple of liberty and call upon him to join you in joyous anthems were inhumane mockery and sacrilegious irony. Do you mean, citizens, to mock me by asking me to speak today? If so, there is a parallel to your conduct. Let me warn you that it is dangerous to copy the example of a nation whose crimes, lowering up to heaven, were thrown down by the breath of the Almighty, burying the nation in irreconcilable or irrecoverable ruin. I can today take up the plaintive lament of a peeled and woe-smitten people. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat. What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all the other days in the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham, your boasted liberty an unholy license, your national greatness swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless, your denunciations of tyrants brass-fronted impudence, your shouts of liberty and equality hollow mockery, your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgiving, with all of your religious parade and solemnity, are to him mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy. A thin veil to cover up crimes which would disgrace a nation of savages. There is not a nation on the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of these United States at this very hour. Go where you may, search where you will, roam through all the monarchies and despots of the old world, travel through South America, search out every abuse, and when you have found the last, lay your facts by the side of the everyday practices of this nation, and you will say with me that for revolting barbarity and shameless hypocrisy, America reigns without rival. And this ends the reading.
Thank you, Gregory. I am 8th generation American on my mom's side. My mom has a souvenir her grandparents brought back from the same 1893 Chicago World's Fair that Catherine Lee Bates attended. It's a seashell from one of the ocean coasts that's lost in family lore. My maternal grandmother was a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution, and she had 8 children, which led me to be one of 29 first cousins who currently reside across 10 different states. I once stayed at the home of one of my cousins when she lived within view of that same Pikes Peak that Bates ascended. My theology of religious naturalism is deeply grounded in my grandmother's and mother's vegetable gardens and campouts as a child, my time detasseling corn as a youth, and my hikes in landscapes across the continental US as an adult. And part of my feeling of being inextricably linked to the land of this country is my feeling of responsibility about how its history unfolds during my lifetime. I will admit to a dip into discouragement earlier this spring, but right now I am actually feeling optimistic that there will be changes made to the leadership of our government in November at the elections, and that more changes will follow after that. But I am not so naive as to think that those changes will happen without assistance. Our actions over the next 5 months matter. When our Social Justice Council met in June, we talked about the importance of meeting this moment in our country's history by being engaged in the midterm election process. The Social Justice Council is formally requesting that you, all of you, our congregation, think about how the various groups that you are engaged with here at UCE might support the theme of voter engagement in your programs and your projects from July through November. So I'm planting that seed, and if you know anyone on the council or anyone in any of the social justice teams or me, let's talk and figure out what that might look like. Our UU the Vote campaign has not been officially launched yet, but that will be coming up. So there is a sign-up sheet for getting involved with our UU the Vote campaign at the Catalyst for Democracy's program table after today's service. So I encourage you to think about getting involved with them and signing up today. Oh, I'm not doing my slides. UU the Vote. The Social Justice Council also talked about how we are visioning our country's long-term future so that when change in the federal government does come, we are ready for a new era and not a return to the status quo that has left many marginalized communities with little access to jobs, education, food, and housing. So as a congregation, we will be engaging in conversations from December through May about the UUA Congregational Study Action Issue, which last year and this year and next year is abolition. Abolition in its current framing is defined as a holistic approach to systemic social change that includes the abolition of slavery, includes replacing systems and cultures of violence, coercion, and control with transformative justice and relational practices. It includes dismantling the prison industrial complex as we know it today. And all of this is about how are we engaging to create lasting social change. You may remember in the spring, Reverend Eileen and I introduced the UUA Common Read Social Change Now by Deepa Iyer. Over the course of the 4 small groups that were meeting to read this book, the facilitators and I made an interesting discovery, inspiring discovery. The people reading the book were asked to identify which of the 10 roles of the ecosystem that they were embodying with a green sticker and which ones they want to embody with a yellow sticker. And that poster is up on the ramp for all of you to look at later. And then we asked everyone to identify the groups within UUCE by which role the groups are embodying with a green sticker and which roles folks would like to see their groups move into with a yellow sticker. And that poster is also up in the ramp. What we discovered was that while very few individuals here at UUCE identified as a role of front responder or identified as the role of healer, when we were working together, the groups within UUCE are acting in these roles significantly as healers and frontline responders within UCE and within our community. I invite you to take a look, because it was a moment of realizing that our role, our individual role that we play within our ecosystem of UUCE supports the ability of our groups and our congregation to play many, many more roles for each other and our communities as they ripple out. And so I invite you, we're going to talk about this. Reverend Eileen and I are going to talk about one role each month for 10 months. And so these are going to be up for the summer. And I invite you before or after a service to come up. I posted the roles so you can read them. And to look at the poster that says individual roles, and then to look at the poster that says group roles. So take a moment to look at those and just think about, where do you fit in the ecosystem? Because not everyone has to play the same role. And in fact, it's better if we have a diversity of roles. That is what makes a healthy ecosystem that can support lasting social change. The time is now to find a role and to actively engage in it. On this, our 250th anniversary of our young democracy, we are at a crossroads. And what happens in November will determine how difficult the road ahead will be. Reach out to your friends and families in other states. Talk with them about your concerns, about your values, about your hopes for the future of our country. Rest when you need to rest. Ask for help when you are struggling. And share your celebrations and your creativity. The hard work of social change does not need to be drudgery. It can be full of laughter and art, of deep friendships and silly signs that you take to protests or put in your yard. Be yourself. Figure out ways to be engaged, and we support each other in the months ahead in ways that are authentic to you, because it takes all of us to create an environment in which lasting change can endure. May it be so, beloveds. Blessed be.
Will the ladies that warned me about the flowers come up and blow out the child? I didn't listen, I'm sorry. Then my throat started closing and give them to someone with no allergies. We have a reading by Elizabeth Sell Jones. As we extinguish the chalice, please join me in saying the words on the screen by the Reverend Elizabeth Sell Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please rise and body your spirit and join in singing our closing song. The Woody Guthrie song, This Land Is Your Land.
For your own. May you delight in its beauty and act in its best interest during these challenging times ahead. May you know that we are all in this together, seeking a brighter future grounded in our history and our relationships. Blessed be. Go in peace.